Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about Jay Tufele, the defensive tackle out of USC, is the man himself, the morning bandit, the one who comes in pretty much every day if you listen to the podcast to tell us about the most amazing draft prospects, the most amazing team previews, and the most amazing game previews in the industry. It's Logan Landers. How's it going, Mr. Landers?
Hey, what's going on, Jeremiah? Yeah, Monday mornings, man, they're starting to become a little bit of a specialty of mine. We've been doing this schedule for a while now, and, it's great. You just wake up on a Monday. People dread Mondays, going into work, 9 to 5, stuff like that. But, man, I wake up energized. You know why? Because we're talking football on a Monday. What better way to kick off your week than talking a little bit of NFL?
I cannot argue with that. Yeah, a good 8 a.m., good Monday morning. That feels good for all of our listeners out there that are over on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and listening on our podcast. But also for us, it's just a great place to be in life where on a Monday morning you can get up and do something that you love. So, without further ado, tell us with Jay Tufele, where is he going to end up? What are his prospects? What are his strengths and weaknesses? And, of course, we want to hear your world-famous 3 picks for teams that you feel will be great for drafting him.
Of course, yeah. So Jay Tufele, a very big defensive tackle, 6'3", around 305 pounds on a given day. So as you can see in our picture here, if you're watching us, he's got a very good body to him. He's not overweight. He's got a lot of strength in that frame, which is always what you want to see in your defensive tackles, because there's been a few in the past who might have let that 300 pounds go a little bit around the gut and not around the arms, like Mr. Tufele has been working out here. So he's got a very good frame on his, and a lot of people say, when I was just doing some research on him, that he is one of the more mature young men coming into this draft. His profile, his interviews were all excellent. People were raving about how professional he is already behind a microphone doing his pre-draft interviews. People were already raving about that and saying that this guy is already NFL ready when it comes to that side of the NFL, because let's not forget the media is a big part about being drafted. Of course, you have to produce on the field, but you also have to give very convincing or very good soundbite type of interviews. And Mr. Tufele is a very respectful young man. People have already said that he's going to do great after his interviews after the games. And so that's already a good knock on him. But let's keep talking about how he's knocking people out on the defensive side of the ball, going to the quarterback, going to the running back. And he's done a lot. And he only played in 2 seasons at USC in 2018, 2019. He was the only USC player to sit out this past 2020 season because, of course, the COVID season, he chose to just sit out and work further, getting his strength up, getting his speed up, just working on things that he can help himself to get his draft stock up. And it helped, I think. Because we've seen, originally when people were already opting out for the 2020 season, like, man, are you sure? Especially when you're going into the draft this next season. But, we've seen that it doesn't really affect your draft stock too much. It might even help it. So I think that's really helped out Jay. Like I said he would have wanted to play. He just, he saw in his mind that it would have been just better for him to sit out and just work on himself this past season. He did a great job. He really helped out his body some, and he did really good for his pro days. He's got a lot of strength on him. He's got a little bit of speed. He can always work on some speed, but the strength is there. Everything you want for him is there. The production is there. So let me go to some of his numbers real quick. In 2018, played in 12 games, and he had a very good, solid season there. He had 23 total tackles, 3 sacks as well. So all in all, pretty solid start to your career there at USC, where they've had a lot of very memorable people play there on both sides of the coin, whether it's offense or defense. So, of course, Jay, he had to go and put his name in there in that hat and be like, all right, look, you've seen a lot of great players, but let me put my name in there, though. Let me put my name. You're going to remember Jay Tufele. So, in his 2019 season, again, he stepped up 42 total tackles, so almost doubled his production. He had 4.5 sacks as well. So you can tell he's really getting to the quarterback. He's able to get there. He's got a good motor. He can really just kind of bull rush his way there if he chooses to. And so while, the numbers might not be eye-popping by any means, 42 or how many total tackles? He had 65 total tackles in 2 seasons and only 7.5 sacks. That might not jump out of the screen, but this guy has a lot of potential, though. That's the key about the NFL draft is we've seen guys who either have stellar college careers and who you know are going to be pretty much studs in the NFL. Or you have the guys who might not have had the biggest numbers in the world, but they have a lot of raw talent and raw potential. And that's what Jay has, I believe. He's got that potential to him to really just shine and to work and to get his work ethic up even more, because he's already been working out a lot. And I think that if he gets paired with a good trainer, with some good teams and good teammates and a really good coach, that this guy could unlock his, real potential and be viewed as one of the better defensive tackles in a few seasons, I think, because he's proven that he can get it done on the field. He's a great kid off the field, so he can do everything you want. It's just you got to hone in your skills a little bit, and I think he could be definitely one of the better defensive linemen coming into this draft. It's just I think that with this draft, it's more offensive heavy, all the great quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, et cetera, et cetera. Defensive guys, unless you're, you proved it in your college career that you were getting hundreds of tackles and, 50 sacks or whatever, unless you're doing those type of numbers, you're going to typically try, fall a little bit in your draft stock. So unfortunately, that Jay is in a very offensive heavy draft, but that doesn't mean that he's going to get a bad pick, though. I've seen him get predicted to be a day 2, day 3 at latest type of pick. I could definitely see him going, maybe mid to late second round. I think it's just that like I said, the offensive power is just everywhere, and even on defense too. The cornerbacks have really taken over this draft, but Jay is looked at as a top 5 defensive lineman. So I do see that whatever team gets this young man, they're going to get a great worker on the field, an amazing person off the field, and someone who's just going to be a hard worker. I mean, this guy won defensive lineman of the year for USC, for the USC program, 2 years in a season. So that his team voted that he is one of the better guys on their team, and I could definitely see why. Like I said, the numbers are there, production is there, and I mean, obviously he's a hit with his teammates and coaches if they were voting for him. So I think this young man has a lot of potential, and it's going to be interesting to see where he goes in the NFL. And like you said, Jeremiah, I've got my 3 teams where I think this young man might be headed to in the NFL draft. Now you see, USC Trojans out there in sunny California. Jay, I'm sorry to do this to you, man, but I got you going someplace pretty cold. I got all 3 places there's going to be some snow. So I'd pack some jackets, some long sleeve shirts, get the jeans ready, get the thermals ready as well. So my 3 teams I have him headed to is the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the reason I picked those 3 teams is they all need a little bit of help in getting to the quarterback. The Chicago Bears, of course, they have Khalil Mack, one of the more, feared defensive players in the league. But if you can get Jay Tufele under his tutelage, man, that could be dangerous. If you can get that kind of instinct, that killer instinct to just go and get to the quarterback at any means necessary, that could be dangerous. Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings kind of fall into the same category. The Packers, a little bit better on the getting to the quarterback, but they still don't have, a key guy who can get there consistently. I think that if Jay can really get there and thrive under that Green Bay system, that he could be the star on that defensive line for the Packers in a couple of seasons. Once you get him some training in, once you get him in some learn the playbook, some plays in, I think he could be a star one day. And finally, for the Vikings, they just flat out, they need a pass rusher. They have not gotten to the quarterback the last couple of seasons, and they really need to fix that hole. And I think that if Jay Tufele is there for the picking, then I think this would be a perfect, pick for the Vikings. He would really help them out. And he would actually, maybe be the one key that they're looking for to get to the quarterback. Because, like I said, 7.5 sacks over 2 seasons isn't nothing to really write home about. But it still shows that he's able to get, a couple of sacks each season. And we saw that, like I said, he didn't play last year, but he got stronger, he got faster. So that means, who knows, that might increase his production even more into the 6s, the 7s, potentially even to the 10s one day. So we'll see where this young man's going to head up. But, yeah, I got him going someplace cold, unfortunately. So be sure to stay warm out there, Jay, if you're watching this. And I think whatever team this young man's going to head to, he's going to have a really good career. And for any negatives I can really think on him, it's just that he's not a real flashy type of player. He doesn't have a bunch of different moves that can get him to the quarterback. If he can learn maybe one more move or maybe 2, that might set him at a different level. But you could always learn that, I think, in the NFL once you get around some seasoned veterans. That's really going to help him out and to really kind of progress him even faster than it was in college. So I think that if you can get that 1 or 2 more specialty moves to get to the quarterback, instead of just using that pure strength, use some finesse moves, I think that would really help out Jay. But other than that, I think this young man's going to be a great pick for any of those three teams I listed. And if you don't think he's going to go through to those three teams, let us know in the comments. We always like to know where you think he's going to have. Hopefully someplace warm if he's watching this. I know it'll be a little bit of a culture shock going from California, sunny California, to some of the cold weather places I picked. But I think that overall this guy is going to be a great player, and I'm looking forward to see how he does.
Yeah, that's incredible. So with Jay Tufele, yeah, I was listening through, and yeah, you got him going somewhere cold on all three fronts there, and I can see that. But something that really stood out to me is you were talking about how he's a solid player, and he's ready for the next level. But what he really could do to get to that next level is have those extra moves, those extra things. And then something that stood out to me, what you were saying, is finding someone who could be a good tutor for him and a good mentor him as he comes into the league, so that it's not him on his own trying to find his rhythm to the next level, but actually have someone who's done it on that even higher level and has great experience in the league to really mentor him into the program. So yeah, which one of those picks was it that is it the Bears that would be?
Yes, I think the Bears would be a great pick for him. The Bears are going through a little bit of a weird stage right now. They got a new quarterback. The offense is looking a little bit shaky, but the defense is what everyone saw the last few seasons, honestly. That is their saving grace that could get them to a potential playoff run if that defensive side of the ball. And I think if you compare him up with Khalil Mack, who's, like I said, one of the more feared defensive linemen or just defensive players in general in the NFL, who wreaks havoc, gets a bunch of sacks, a bunch of tackles. I think that if you can get him and tutor him, maybe you can get Khalil Mack the second. You never know. I think that Jay Tufele, if he can really get some good tutelage, then I think that, like I said, he could be a guy that could average around double-digit sacks a season if he can put his nose to the ground and really get hard in the textbooks. I think he could do some great things.
Yeah, definitely got to agree with you there. Well, everyone who's watching, make sure you tell us, do you think that Jay Tufele may be drafted to the Chicago Bears, to the Green Bay Packers, to the Minnesota Vikings, or to yet another team? Tell us in the comments what you think. And if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or over on Facebook, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that every time we have a new video, which on Mondays are very prevalent and on Wednesdays are very prevalent, and then on our podcast every day. Thank you so much. And then, of course, if you're listening to the podcast right now, thank you. And if you're not, join us. We're over on everywhere that you stream podcasts, including over on Spotify at 100 Yards of Football, over on Apple Podcasts at 100 Yards of Football, or anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. Just look up 100 Yards of Football, and we'll pop right up. Just look for that great 50-yard line football sign there. We are presented from the Believe Podcast Network, which has done a great job of helping us get moving and get really grooving on our podcast. And so we're super thankful to them for being our sponsors. Well, for everyone else watching, thank you so much. I'm the producer, Jeremiah Long, and you've been watching our draft profile of Jay Tufele out of USC, and this has been Logan Landers telling you all about it. And Mr. Landers is going to bring you yet another amazing, life-changing, and future predicting draft profile here in just a moment, so stay tuned.